President Biden says he'll announce his Supreme Court nomination before the end of this month, and one name on his shortlist is causing a stir. A recent article in the Washington Post digs into why certain left-leaning Democrats are not pleased with the support Michelle Childs is receiving from across the aisle. David Weigel wrote that piece, and he's here to talk about this latest battle over the bench. David, it's great to see you, my friend. So explain to our viewers, why are Democrats balking at the idea of Childs being nominated as Supreme Court Justice?
Well, she's the most polarizing potential nominee in the sense that one Democrat, James Clyburn, the House Majority Whip, has been advocating for her for years and actually was advising that Joe Biden pick her if an opening came on the Supreme Court before he was sworn in as president. She is a South Carolina judge. She's worked her way up the system. She's very well liked by Clyburn and a lot of her South Carolina politicians. You have on the other side of the spectrum liberal Democrats who say this is a woman who spent years at a private law firm where she took the corporate side in labor disputes. Now, that's what lawyers do, but they ask why, when we have other candidates who don't have that record, and this is a grim part of the Supreme Court process, but one that we're all aware of, who's a little bit younger, there is not a rallying around a particular alternative to her. But some labor groups and some on the left are saying we really can do better than her, and we don't trust James Clyburn advocating a nominee who we think might be more conservative than the other nominees.
But here's the thing. She's getting a bit of bipartisan support, which you think would be good. I presume that's one of the reasons that Biden is looking at her. Why does the president like her?
Well, we don't know what the president thinks of her exactly. The bipartisanship is playing both ways. Again, for James Clyburn, this is not the reason he supports Childs, but this is a point he's been making on the interview outlet to outlet, saying, I've already got South Carolina senators interested in voting for her, and we need bipartisan votes. And he's even said that Ben Ray Lujan, the senator from Mexico, being sick for a little while means we need them. On the left, Our Revolution, the group founded by Bernie Sanders, were among people making this point. When Republicans had court openings, they did not consider Democrats whatsoever. The most they did was run some ads against Democrats in red states, like Indiana senator who they beat in 2018, saying they should vote for them because the nominee is popular. They never considered whether they need to get Democrat votes. The practical reason was that they didn't really need them. When they had 51 seats, and when they confirmed Brett Kavanaugh, 52, and they confirmed Amy Coney Barrett in the Senate, Democrats had 50. But the ethos was different. The ethos was, this is a seat that we want to fill with the most conservative person possible. We don't care if Democrats support her. That is the frustration on the left, is Republicans, and they will say once again for the millionth time, played by a set of rules to help their party and boost their ideological goals, whereas Democrats are conceding and advocating for somebody that Lindsey Graham is out there saying he supports. And that the fact that Clyburn has got Lindsey Graham talking about how much he likes Childs, that has fueled some of this paranoia that she would be an awful pick and they should be campaigning for somebody else. They don't know who exactly. Generally, Ketanji Brown Jackson. But that's the irony. The paranoia comes from the fact that Clyburn has gotten Republicans talking about her.
Right. So so Dave, my question then becomes, and this is me putting on my cynical hat, I mean, are Republicans gaslighting Democrats? I mean, the reality is, do we really expect, I don't care what Lindsey Graham says to reporters or what he, says, on talk radio. The question becomes, when it comes time to vote, does the president expect that Michelle Childs will get some votes from Republicans or not? They're just going to get in the head of Democrats, getting ahead of James Clyburn. They're going to be all worried. And at the end of the day, she's not going to get any Republican votes.
That is that rug pull sensation you're talking about. That is a worry for some of the people who are advocating against Childs. And if I could summarize what they're saying, it's Lindsey Graham was talking about her not because he's going to support her, he's going to find some reason to vote against her, but because if Biden chooses somebody else, he can turn around and say, instead of the consensus pick, he picked the left-wing nominee and we're going to oppose her. Right. And the cynical side of the Democratic Party, which I think represents most of the activists, if not most of the people in the congressional party, says we know that's what they're going to do. They always do it. They look at a Congress where fairly uncontroversial nominees for ambassadorships, the FDA nominee, where people are getting tied up for weeks or months over issues that didn't tie up nominees before, and they think it's a trap. You're right. However, Clyburn's argument is that, trust me, I've got enough people interested in this nominee on the Republican side that it wouldn't be a trap. There are no Democrats who've come out and said, I'm going to vote against her, which I think would kill the nomination. If Bernie Sanders, and he hasn't done it, if Bernie Sanders decided to say, she's somebody I wouldn't support, I feel like that would kill the momentum. And they haven't gotten there. But you're right. There's not much trust from, I think, left-wing Democrats, but Democrats in general. They have seen Republicans, especially when it comes to the Supreme Court, make up a rule one year and change it when it benefits them. So they're not expecting anyone to have a glide path. There is an idea that once there is a nominee and a face and a story and a testimony, that it's going to be harder for Republicans to just automatically oppose the first Black female nominee to the Supreme Court who's going to have qualifications that are longer than the last few nominees. Law school, not law school, but time as a judge, cases they've looked at. And there is a sense that Republicans will find some way to oppose her anyway. So they're not advocating for the most left-wing nominee. They're not trying to find some 40-year-old justice who they think is going to rule their way on everything. They think that there are a small number of people with established records who will vote with the liberals on the court. And they think that Clyburn is choosing one with that they know the least about and has the private sector record that makes them the most concerned.
All right. David Weigel, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.